US government just shut down and everyone is freaking out about Section 8 payments stopping, but I am not worried at all. In fact, I'm more confident in my Section 8 strategy than ever before. I'm Khateri and I own 1.9 million in Section 8 real estate that generates over 30K a month in passive rental income. And in this video, I'm going to show you why the government shutdown does not scare me one bit and why it shouldn't scare you either. Most people don't know how Section 8 funding actually works. HUD doesn't just send the money to each housing authority every single month like a Netflix subscription. Instead, they fund these housing authorities months in advance. So right now across the country, most housing authorities are already funded through mid-November, and some are funded even longer than that. And notice how I said most, because yes, there are a few that were only funded for October, such as Milwaukee, but that is only a small minority. So if you're watching this video in early November, your rent payments are most likely already secured. That money is already sitting in a housing authority's bank account. The government shutdown literally cannot affect payments that have already been funded to these housing authorities. And if you're watching this after the shutdown ended, because yes, I'm recording this like a week in advance, most of you landlords probably saw zero change. Now, if you're watching this, in middle of November and the shutdown is still going on, then yes, there might be some delays. And that's the key word there, delays, not cancellations. The government will eventually reopen, and when it does, the delayed payments get processed. You will get your money. It's just a matter of when, not if. I personally keep a 3-month reserve for every single property in my portfolio. So even if the government shutdown lasted 2 months, for example, which would be unprecedented, by the way, because the longest shutdown in history has been 35 days. But let's say it goes past that. Regardless, I can cover my mortgages, taxes, insurance without breaking a sweat. Think about it this way, right? During COVID, when regular tenants were getting these eviction moratoriums and these rent freezes going on, Section 8 landlords were still getting paid. Same during the 2008 financial crisis. Section 8 payments continued. And during every single government shutdown in history, Section 8 has always resumed payments when the government reopened. Again, the longest government shutdown in US history was 35 days. The average is about 11 days. And yes, we are past that. But in general, we're talking about short-term delays here with your funding getting paid as a landlord, not the end of the program. What most people don't think about is that there are over 5 million vouchers out for American families on Section 8. That includes veterans, that includes elderly people, that includes disabled Americans, working families. So A, no politician wants to be responsible for putting 5 million people on the street. That's not happening. And let's say that there is an orange man crazy enough to do that, you will legitimately have an entire homelessness crisis. I don't think you guys understand how many people 5 million is that just lose their rent. Section 8 has historically been popular across both party lines because it served constituents in every single district across America. Even the most conservative politicians have Section 8 tenants in the areas where they're popular. And despite what some headlines might suggest, even during Trump's first term, Section 8 funding actually increased. And yes, he is saying that he wants to propose some changes to it, but I've talked about that in other videos, and it still doesn't change my stance that I am doubling down on Section 8. The program is too big, too important, and too politically sensitive to just disappear. While other investors are panicking and are even trying to sell some of their properties, I see this as validation as to why Section 8 is such a superior strategy. I mean, think about it. What other investment gives you government-backed guaranteed rent that continues even during a government shutdown? If you owned regular rental properties right now, you'd probably be dealing with tenants who lost their jobs, who work for the government and can't pay their rent, or are trying to move out because of economic uncertainty. But Section 8 tenants have guaranteed rent by the federal government, even if it's only until mid-November. So even if there are short delays, that money is still coming. Compare that to trying to chase down a regular tenant who lost their job and can't pay rent. Let me break down exactly how I structure my reserves, because this is what gives me complete peace of mind in situations exactly like this. For each property, I calculate 3 months of holding costs. So that's mortgage, insurance, taxes, and even maintenance put aside. So I keep about $2,500 to $3K in each business bank account per home. And I don't touch this money. This is, again, in a completely separate account that I cannot touch. It is earning interest, and it's really only there for situations exactly like this. It's not for investments, certainly not for vacations. It's really just for covering these carrying costs. And if it goes above the 3-month threshold, then I'll use that for other investments. And the best part is that in the 4 to 5 years that I've been Section 8 investing, I have never had to use these reserves for missed government payments. Like, it just hasn't happened. But having them has given me the confidence boost that even if the government shutdown lasts another whole 2 months, I will be okay while other investors are losing their minds over headlines. Speaking of peace of mind, if you want to connect with other Section 8 investors who understand the strategy and aren't panicking about every news headline, I've created a completely free community with over 1,300 members in it. It's where I share live deal analysis, market updates, and even host a live free Friday call that is a Section 8 masterclass. Again, it is completely free and you will get access to investors who actually understand the program instead of just emotionally reacting to scary headlines. The link is in the description below. Honestly, situations like this just reinforces my belief that Section 8 is really superior to regular rentals. When the market gets uncertain, when there's economic instability, when there's political changes, Section 8 landlords are the most protected. Regular landlords right now are just worried about tenants losing jobs, not being able to pay rent, having to do evictions. But Section 8 landlords are just waiting for the government to reopen so that our guaranteed payments can resume. So again, even in the absolute worst case scenario where payments are delayed by a month or two, I'm still in a better position than landlords who have regular tenants who might not pay for months or even just disappear in the middle of the night. What you need to understand is that America has a housing affordability crisis that is getting worse, not better. More people need housing assistance every single year, and the Section 8 waiting lists in most cities are years long. This program isn't going anywhere. If anything, it is going to expand over time as more Americans struggle with housing costs. The government shutdown is just temporary political theater going on in the background. The need for affordable housing is a permanent economic reality. I've been through market scares like this before, right? In 2022, when interest rates spiked, everyone said, oh, real estate's gonna be dead. Oh, let's wait for a crash. And I bought properties during that year, and guess what? They have doubled in value since then. The best time to invest is when others are scared. While other investors are panicking about government shutdowns, I am staying focused on the fundamentals, guaranteed rent payments backed by the federal government. In fact, I'm actively looking for more investments right now. Some scared investors are probably trying to sell their Section 8 properties right now because of the shutdown fears, which means there might be some good deals available. But I'm not buying because I think there's a crisis. I'm buying because I know there isn't one. This is just all temporary noise that's going to be forgotten in a few months, but the cash flow from these properties will last 30, 40 years. And look, I get it. Headlines are scary, government shutdowns sound dramatic, but you need to actually understand how Section 8 works. When you have proper reserves in place, when you look at the political and economic realities, there's really nothing to worry about. The guaranteed rent payments that made the Section 8 program attractive is still there. The government backing is still there. The program is still serving millions of Americans who need housing. So instead of panicking, you need to take advantage of times like this to get ahead and not miss out on new opportunities. So if you want to learn how I built this $1.9 million Section 8 portfolio and how you can start building passive income through government guaranteed rent payments, even with all of these market changes happening, I've created a complete step-by-step system that shows you everything from finding your first property to scaling to 5 to 10 properties. Check out this video on screen where I break down my exact strategy and show you how to get started even if you've never bought an investment property before. As always, I'm Joseph Khateri, and have a nice day.